I'm Devon Leslie and this is my senior project. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do preventative maintenance on your chainsaw. And these are some of the tools that we will be using. This is your typical flathead screwdriver. This is called a bar wrench. And it's got a 1/2 inch socket, a 3/4 socket, and a 5mm flathead screwdriver. This is a bastard file, also known as a flat file. This is your rake gauge. And this is your 30 seconds round file, made only for sharpening a chainsaw with a wooden hand grip. And we're going to focus mainly on the front part of this saw in the beginning of this video. Now, this, without the chain, is called a bar. Okay? And now, if you were to look, there's actually studs you can see right here. And there's a sprocket in the tip of this bar, okay, that actually helps run this chain across. And as you can see, there's actually teeth inside the chain, right? Or inside the bar. And these are 3/8, and the teeth underneath are 72. And these are gauged in millimeters, and these are gauged in inches. Alright? Now, these are called your dogs, and these help you dig into the tree deeper. It helps resist against kickbacks, and it actually helps a lot to save you in a bad situation. Okay? And these are called your bar nuts. Now, these are what hold on the bar and the chain brake. The chain brake, it's activated right now, as you can see. But you bring it up, and it allows the chain to move. But you bring it down, okay, well, it should activate, but that's because it's loose. It can't be loose or it's not going to activate. I loosened these up before the video so that I could just, get through it. What tool you would use to get these off would be your 1/2 inch socket on the end of your bar wrench. And as you can see, it's a perfect fit. And you're going to get both of these off of here. And once both of your bar nuts are off, it will reveal something called your centrifugal clutch, which I'll explain what that is and what it does. I'm pretty sure you all understand centrifugal force. Now, another thing is you're gonna want to check it to see if it's extremely dirty, like you got moss and sawdust. And if you look in there, that doesn't look too bad. It's actually really clean for being a bar cover. And here is where your brake is, and that actually grabs your clutch. You can see how much it moves to grab your clutch, and it's actually quite a pain in the butt to try to get back unlocked. But once you do, you can see it's fully opened up. Now this is your centrifugal clutch. As you can see, there's springs in there held on by a 3-pronged tooth, and these are called your flyer wings, which when this has force going through it, it all activates itself, and it opens by spinning this way, right? And that free spins, because these grab this, and it actually spins it. Now I'm going to show you how to get your bar off of here. What you do is you put it to an angle, and you set it on the bar bolts. And you pull your chain off, and there's a sprocket that's held around the clutch. You pull your chain off, bada boom, bada bang, you're done. You slowly pull your bar off. That's quite filthy, right? So you wipe it off. Set your bar and chain together. You don't want to separate these. This is called your tensioner tooth, and that in there is a tensioner screw. You can see that's quite dirty. It gets quite gummed up. You can clean that out. And then you initially, this little tooth goes into there in one of them holes. You can either run it top, bottom, it don't matter. And it actually moves the bar back and forth, and it tensions the chain, and it makes it tight so that it won't kick off and go into your leg. This is your main body dog. It bolts on there and there into the housing of your motor. Now, how you get to the motor is there's body mount bolts here and here and right there, right? Well, this one's broken. I haven't had the money to quite fix it. It's a cheap part, and I just have had the money lately. But what you do is you turn it counterclockwise until you feel it just free spinning by itself. And the other one, you do the same. You turn it until you feel it free spinning. And this is how you access the motor and the carburetor. Your air cleaner, all of that. Your fuel hose. Oh, obviously this one ain't off all the way. And inside here, you got a breather tube for your carburetor, for your air cleaner. Now this is your air filter. This is a one-stage, regular old air filter, original. You can see it's kind of clogged up. Now how you clean these is you take it and you bang all four sides. Oh, I just lost my O-ring. On a table. You can see it's cleaner. See, it's way cleaner. And you can actually hear air go through it. Listen. Here it is. This little guy is what holds that air filter onto your barrel, your carburetor barrel. Your carburetor barrel is right here. Now, when you have your air filter off, it is very important to pull out your choke so that your barrel lever closes. You see that? So that nothing gets into your carburetor. You have a 3-layer, 3-stage carburetor. You got your top, your middle, and your bottom, right? And then here, you got your lean and your rich screws. They're 2 little itty-bitty screws. And then you got your idle. Here's your throttle rod, right here. This. Here's your trigger, which connects down into here. And here's your actual throttle body. See how that works? Now here, you got your spark plug wire, which connects down to a magneto by the starter, your pull starter. And then here's your flywheel. And that rubs up against that magneto and it creates a static electricity, which creates a shock of electricity that travels up through here, which goes down into the spark plug, which creates a spark when that fuel is misted through a jet, a manual jet, and it combusts, and then it starts up. And how you get this off of here is you could use your 3/4 socket on the end of your bar wrench, but you don't want to put these in here tight. And you can see there's carbon buildup on there. I wish I had a lighter on me, but you're not allowed to carry them at school. Or else I'd show you how to get that carbon off there. What you do is you get your lighter, let's pretend this is your lighter, you light it, and you hold it over the top, and you just let it lick it for a few seconds. And it actually instantly burns that carbon off there, and you got a spark plug. It's almost brand new. This connects into here, and there's a coil inside. And that fits, and you can hear it. Listen. Hear that? Hear that snap? Means it's connected. And it pulls off of there. And without this little silver end piece, you're not going to get a connection at all. And if you do, it's going to be a crappy one. You can see how that screws on there. Now, there's a total different sound when you have compression and when you don't. When you have this out, you're not going to have your compression. Listen to this. It pulls like it's nothing, right? This is called your head, where your valve sits. This is a 1-cylinder, 2-stroke engine. Runs off mixed gas. Okay. Very simple. It burns very hot, very fast. You put that spark plug back on there. Make sure that's connected good. What you do to get this O-ring back on here is you just slip it back on over. And it should just slide right over if it don't give you a bit of a fight. See, just like that. And then it goes right over the barrel of your carburetor here because there's a lip. You can see my fingers catching on it. And you line it up and you just slowly twist it on there and it goes right on. Then you take your bar wrench and you just seat that little screw there down tight so that nothing can sneak itself past the seal. You just want to snug it up a bit, you know. You don't want to actually get it tight. And then you put your cover back on there and you kind of slam it down so that you know that it's actually on there. Then you want to tighten up your mounts. Not, you know, deftly tight, but snug. You just want it. See how it can still turn that like it's nothing? You just want it snug. You don't want it deathly tight, right? You see how it takes forever. Alright, and now listen when there's compression. It's a total different sound. And to pull start these, you hold it right here in the bend of this handle. And you grab your pull cord, which is your starter, and you go. You can tell how that's a different sound. And to be able to get it to fire up, because a 2-stroke is a cold-blooded creature, you pull out this, which is called your choke, and you make sure that your kill switch, that's off, and that's on. You make sure that your kill switch is on, and then you pull it until it fires. The saw does run, and I'm going to start it up to demonstrate in this video how you do it. See that clutch? Watch my throttle. You can see how it's still spinning. Now, to put this back on here, you find where that sits, you put your chain back on, right? You slip it back over your clutch. Sometimes you gotta bend it a little bit further than you're meaning to. You slip it back over your clutch. You make sure that it's on your sprocket that's on your clutch, because if it's not, it's not going to do anything. And you're going to toast your clutch. You're actually end up burning it up. I've done that on multiple occasions, and Grandpa kind of kicked my butt for it. So, you know, it's smart because a clutch is very expensive. They can reach up to $130, you know, depending on what kind of saw you have. So you make sure that that's sitting on there safely. You grab your brake stop and you put it back over. Make sure that your bar bolts match and line up. And you just slide it over and you make sure that it's on that tooth. You can see how that's tight again. Then you put your dog back over, and to make sure that it's the right way, you look where the nuts have been rubbing on it. You see them circles? But you don't see it on the other side. You slip it over like that. Alright? And then you put your nut back on there. Just one, that's all you need. And sometimes you have to tighten up your tensioner screw, you know, but in this case, that's it's tight enough. You know, it don't have to be deathly tight all the time. Now, if you're cutting like a hardwood, like madrone, oak, something, maple.
Staff, if you are on the site council, please report to the library for the site council meeting. Thank you.
And you just tighten it down snugly. You don't get it deathly tight. You just get it snug. You get it too tight, and you can actually end up stripping these out, and then you gotta fight to get one of them bar bolts out of there, and it's just a pain in the butt. You thread these on with your fingers as far as you possibly can get them, and then you just tighten it back down with your bar wrench. It takes no more than about 4 or 5 twists till it's snug. That's snug. Now I'm going to explain how to sharpen your chain. These are round teeth, which the reason they're called round teeth is if you look at them at an angle, they're actually got a round cut to them. So they're called round teeth. And they had to design a file that would fit it, which is why it's called a round file. This round file goes into your tooth, and you put your saw at an angle. You put the bar down. Be sure you have it between the teeth. Put palm of your hand between the teeth. Put your hand over one tooth. Lay your fingers over the side of the bar and your thumb on the back. Apply a little bit of pressure. Go to the tooth you want to sharpen. And if you look on the teeth, if you look here, you could see there's a little line. And that is actually a 45-degree factory-made line, so that it guides you to know what degree you have to cut your tooth to so that you get a good sharp cut. Because the way you can tell the difference between a sharp tooth and a dull tooth, like me, because I'm a timber cutter, I know, just by looking, is that the corner of it will either be rounded off, which is called an eagle beak, or you can look at it and tell it's just round, you know, and it's not shiny no more. That's a dull tooth. But how you can tell a sharp tooth, it's got a really, really sharp needle point, you know, it grabs you good, it busts your skin open like that, you know. And you can also tell because it's got a bevel of metal sticking up on the top. And a dull tooth won't have that. And that's from your file. Now, how to sharpen it, you put it down like this, do what I did, and you stick it in there and you eyeball that mark with your file. And it takes no more than 2 or 3 strokes. Keep your file flat to get a good sharp. You start from the bottom of the tooth and you stroke your way up. And that gets it razor sharp. You can see that tooth, how shiny it is. It's not eagle beaked. It's sharp on the top and the side. Mainly what does the cutting is up at the corner of the tooth. It's not really the side or the top, it's the corner. Because your teeth always stick out more than your bar. They always do. By like a 1/4 of an inch, they stick out. Literally the width of 2 quarters put together. Okay? And you go through and you sharpen them teeth. 2 or 3 strokes of tooth. That's a sharp tooth. I know it is by looking at it. I've been doing it for a long time. You just sharpen that tooth up. It's good and sharp. Now after a while of sharpening down your teeth, they're gonna get low. And these right here are called your rakes or your riders. And that is actually like a depth. It's kind of like a fin on a boat. You know, it helps with the depth of, you know, how to cut through the water. Well, this helps you cut through the wood. It actually gives you the right depth and you can file it down however you want. Now, this is your rake or rider gauge. And you lay it down on one tooth and the other tooth. And you look. And you look at it level. And if any of your rake is sticking up at all, which on this one, from reading the gauge, this one's sticking up 3 centimeters. So you take your file, your bastard file, and And without hitting your main tooth, you just file it down a little bit to where you think it, might be. And that's good. You can also do it by the feel. Well, I'm surely glad that I showed you guys how to work on a chainsaw, so that in the near future, if you ever purchase yourself one, or if you do have one, you know how to work on it, because every chainsaw is the same. They're all 1-cylinder, 2-stroke, 1-fire engine. They're very simple to work on. Keep them maintained, keep them clean. Make sure you keep all this sawdust out of your motor and off your saw. Can start a fire. I've had it happen a couple of times. It was scary. Okay, we won't get into that. Something else that I want to point out, so you don't get this mixed up, because there's some people out there that do, believe it or not. This is your gas cap and your gas tank. Your gas tank and your motor are two separate components. They bolt together with mounts. See, there's a mount there, there's a mount there, and then there's a mount down in here, and there's a mount on the other side in the same place as there is here, and the same place that there is by the brake cover, right? And this is your oil. You take these mounts out, your tank and your motor come apart. I had to do that to actually replace my throttle trigger. This is your starter. There's a bolt there, 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 and there. Pull that off. That's how you access the bolts. Same with your brake cover. These, it takes it's a 6.5 Allen wrench, or Allen key, hex key, however you want to call it. It's one of them octagon little things. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it on maintaining your saw. So this was my senior project, and I'm very glad that I was able to do it. I also want to thank everybody that stood behind me on the way and getting my butt in gear and actually getting me to do this and graduate and get a move on with my life. I want to thank my brother Jonathan, who is the cameraman. I want to thank Mr. Barry, my parents, Hap and Kev, my other parents, Bill and Christina. And I want to thank everybody else that just stood behind me and went, "Go Devon," thank you very much. And I hope to see you all again real soon. Thank you.